I'm Tanya.
And I'm Anthony.
And this is Karma's a Stitch. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the content we have to share with you today. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. We are so glad that you're here, and we had an amazing 2021, and we are super excited about 2022 and sharing all of our craftiness with you guys this year. Really looking forward to the upcoming months and things that we have planned and going on. But before I get too off track, if you are wanting to get in contact with us, you can do that through my email, which is Tanya@karmasastitch. You can find me on Ravelry as 76karma. And you can find me on Instagram as Karma's a Stitch. If you are returning here, you'll know that we start each episode with a scripture. So the scripture for this episode is Proverbs 13:20, and I'll put that up at the end of the episode. And I'm just going to get into it because I've got a pile of stuff. We are in my living room today. Normally we record in my craft room, but I always struggle with the camera placement, and Anthony and I feel like we're super far apart, and it just adds a whole bunch of complication to it. So I was like, hey, let's just try it in the living room today. So we're going to see how this goes. And then, of course, we get out here and we sit down, and I'm like, oh, you look like you're so far back because I'm trying to get all the cameras in the right spot and stuff.
That's funny.
And he's like, well, it's because you're sitting up there. You could sit back too. I can't.
I didn't realize this.
Because if I slide back, my feet don't touch the floor. And he just thought that was great.
I forget that, no offense, because I know that I'm like about a head taller than you. And like whenever I give you a hug, you're scratching my little beard, and I didn't take that into it.
I make up for it with a great big personality, though.
Exactly.
So yeah, sorry that the spatial difference, but I need to sit up so I can reach the floor. We are going to start off with new stuff. And because this is our first episode after Christmas, there's some Christmas gifts. So here's something. For Christmas, I did not get one single skein of yarn. Not one. Not one skein of yarn for Christmas. I got lots of knitting stuff, but not a single skein, which, let me tell you, I was just fine with after opening 3 yarny advents, 2 of which had full skeins that I opened on Christmas Day. So that we will start with Christmas. So a lovely lady in our local group got me a Christmas gift, and she said she chose, sorry, I'm blocking your face out.
It's all good.
I'll block my face out, but I'll do my talking first. She got me this because she said when she sees the word joy, she thinks of me.
Hashtag.
Choose joy. I absolutely adore the fact that she thought of me at Christmas and got something for me. And I love that when she thinks of me, the word joy comes to mind. That I think was so incredibly touching. So I did get this bag from her, and inside was a little notions pouch. It says create. And I got some chocolates, which I have not indulged in all of them. But they're pretty special, tasty chocolates. There might be some liqueur chocolates in there. And I got some pattern or some project bag tags. So here's an example of one. I've already got a couple of them on other projects. Okay, and how great is that? If you have watched me, you'll know that a couple months ago, I went through all of my whips, and I have more than I was comfortable with, and I prioritized them and needed to work down. I got some more chocolate. That's the only one I have left. I had a few in there. And she got me a book by Elizabeth Zimmerman.
And this is all by the subscriber?
No, this is from a local lady here in town.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Karen. So I got a book by Elizabeth Zimmerman. And it's got some pretty fun stuff in here. I've looked through it. It's super informative. I mean, it really breaks some stuff down for you. It's got some patterns in here and tips. And anyway, very excited about this. But speaking of books and speaking of Karen, and because we're on new acquisitions, this next thing I'm going to talk about is not an acquisition because I have not acquired this. This is something that my friend Karen told me I could borrow. So this will not be in my home forever, but she did say I could borrow this. Now, if you have watched me at all, you'll know that socks are not at the top of my list of favorite things to knit. I don't necessarily want them to be my number one favorite thing to knit, but I would like to say that I enjoy them, okay? And that's not the case right now. And you hear everybody talk about second sock syndrome, okay? It's a thing where you knit your first one and you get the first one done and you really struggle to get that second one done. And that's not where my struggle comes in. I mean, and I was talking about this in our Zoom meeting this morning, because I've done a lot of thinking about this. It's not second sock syndrome for me. For me, it's first sock syndrome. Okay? I mean, I've got the yarn, I've got the needles. I just need to get the yarn onto the needles. And that is where my biggest hang up is with socks. And once I get going, once I've got it on there, they're done. I have a pair. I'm able to get through that just fine. I don't struggle with second sock syndrome. It's definitely first sock syndrome. So with that being said, my friend Karen allowed me to borrow this book from her library, and it's called Socks a la carte, Pick and Choose Pattern to Knit Socks Your Way. And she said that she thought this might help me push through this little sock frustration that I have. So when you open this book, you get to choose a cuff, a body, a heel, and a toe. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead in here and get to the pages where I can actually do some picking. So here I have, I'm going to scoot up a little bit and I'll try not to keep, and I can pick a different cuff. There's several here. Okay, maybe I want a rolled one. So there's lots of cuffs to choose from. So we'll just go with this one right here. Okay, so that's the cuff I'm going to choose. And then over here, it tells me what page that pattern's on. Ha! And then you get to choose your body. So pick a pattern of a body that you really, really like. That one's got a pocket in it. Hello.
Has a
pocket.
Sock has a pocket.
Yeah. And then that tells you what page to find that pattern on. And then you've got the foot, right? And you get to pick the different toes that you want on the body of the sock. And we'll just go, because I'm struggling, with that one. And then it's got the information you need to make that sock. It's like a build your own sock pattern book.
That is so neat.
How cool is that? So I'm talking about this in new acquisitions, mainly because it's in my house. I have every intention of using this, but it has just been put on loan to me. It is not mine, but I will let you know how it goes. So there's that. The next, oh shoot, would you do me a favor real quick in the craft room on the desk?
The desk next to you?
Nope, I'll be right back.
I wouldn't say it was.
Okay, I'm back. I was getting ready to talk about the Christmas presents that came back with me from my brother's house because let me tell you, my brother and sister-in-law nailed Christmas this year. Nailed it. Okay, so I had to go into my craft room to get one of the items that I've been using on a regular basis. I got a neck light, USB chargeable, 3 different settings. You want to try it? You totally want to try it.
I was actually...
I mean, just in case you were worried you couldn't see your knitting. What?
I was actually thinking about buying one off of Amazon.
For reading or for knitting?
For both.
I got one. I don't have to look on Amazon. So anyway, I got a neck light for Christmas from my brother and sister-in-law. I also, things that are knitting related, I got a couple of candles. And he got me a knitting book. Japanese Knitting Stitch Bible.
You just see my little head just kind of trying to see.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you wanting to look at that? Look at that.
That's pretty neat. I
200
have a really small head, and so...
No, it's because you're sitting so far back.
No. I do. I have a really small head, and so you just see me.
So this is 260 exquisite patterns. Huh. You guys, hello, nailed it. They absolutely.
That's still from Uncle Ted and Aunt
Yeah.
Natalie?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, anywho, and of course, my brother knows me. I got a new project bag.
Balls. So I'm not a slow reader. I just have to read it backwards.
Yeah. Isn't that great?
Which is forward for you guys.
Isn't that great? So it looks like they got it from Etsy.
Is that written down with a pen or is that
Yeah,
copied?
no, she wrote it, but I'm just trying to see what the name of it is. 13 and Elm is the name of the Etsy shop.
Isn't Justine?
That's her name. That's her name.
Gotcha. Okay.
But little signed note on the back. So, yes, I got another project bag for my balls
As
of
if
yarn.
You didn't have enough.
Never enough. Right?
Hey.
Never enough. So, yes, that would be my Christmas stuff, which I am thrilled over. Truly thrilled. Like, I was at my brother's. He lives in Portland. I'm in Boise. So we had driven over there, and I had sat down in the recliner in their living room and knit. I did get time to knit for a while, and
that recliner is so comfortable.
Oh, yeah. Well, I kind of claimed it the whole time I was there. I kept asking if my brother or sister-in-law wanted to sit in it. And they're like, oh, no, you go right ahead. So I did. I went right ahead. Anyway, so then I've got this package.
Do you know what it is?
I do know what it is. It's my birthday present to myself.
What's yourself?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I bought one of those for myself.
Yeah, it's my birthday present to myself, but I haven't opened it yet because I didn't want to be tempted to start ripping into it. So if anybody follows or watches Ruth Loves to Knit on YouTube, she is a Christian woman who gives a beautiful message at the end of each of her episodes. I love following her. She's got some energy for her knitting. She's just got a really fun, uplifting personality, and yet she still says, hey, I got the struggles of parenthood and life and stuff, but she puts off such a positive, I mean, she's just a really inspirational woman, and I've really enjoyed watching her. Well, what?
Was she the one that you showed me? She lives in the UK, and so the only reason I said she lives in the UK is because I love their accent. I really like it. And I mean, you could say whatever you want. You could say something that does not sound smart at all, but to me, it sounds very intelligent.
Yeah,
And
I really enjoy her, and I enjoy watching her. Well, it wasn't recent. Let's see if there's a date on this. She mailed me, I bought from her something from her D-stash. And she was having a D-stash. I need to just open this. Give me a moment.
She's a very, very nice lady. I really enjoyed watching her videos.
Wait till you see what I got.
You did say you didn't buy one, you didn't get one for Christmas, but you bought one for your birthday.
It is my birthday.
Her birthday is January 10th.
My birthday is January 10th. I will be 28 again.
Yep. I'm almost in May, I will be just as old as my mom.
So, Ruth was having a D-stash. And she had some minis up there. And, I've been doing the Advent thing, and I have a couple projects going. And one of them I wanted bigger than what actually... Jeez. I know. One of them, I wanted more minis. I've got some scrappy crochet stuff going on. But I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I mean, it's got to come from the UK. The postage is going to be crazy. I'm not going to do it. And it sat there. And then we talked about it in a Zoom meeting, and a couple other ladies were like, yeah, we were looking at it, but decided against it. Don't need to be doing that this time of year. And, so I sent Ruth a message, and I said, would you consider shipping... Would you consider shipping
Sorry.
to the U.S. if I bought enough? If I spent enough money on your D-stash, would you consider shipping to the U.S.? Because I know it's not always cheap, and would it be worth it for me to pay for the postage if it's going to cost more than the yarn I'm buying, right? I mean, these are things you got to think about right now. And she wrote back, and just as friendly and amazing as I had imagined she would be. And she said, well, yeah, what are you thinking? And I'm like, well, I'm thinking about those minis. And they were 10 gram minis, but there were 50 of them.
She's probably like, how many? And you're like, I want all of them.
Well, I think she was selling them as a batch. So I got 50 of these 10 gram minis. But also...
I'm saying it like it's a bad thing. I am so happy that you got something that you really enjoy doing. But it's just you have so much yarn. I'm just saying. My mom loves to knit. And I'm very glad that she found something... Well, she's always... Anything crafty, she's always loved to do. she's like, for a long while, she just did nothing but cross-stitched. And then she was crocheting. And then, what else did you do?
Crochet.
Well, now you're doing knitting, but
counted cross stitch, knitting. Yeah. So, and she also on there had this, I don't know, Zakami. I don't know how to pronounce that, but the colorway name is Silent Night. It is 100% superwash fine merino high twist, 100 grams, 365 meters, 399 yards. Look at that. I mean, maybe the lighting isn't the greatest right now. My mom recently told me I need to start putting it further away from the camera. But yes, you guys. So I got 2 skeins of this. And 10,
that's the package.
10 gram, 50 10-gram minis.
Gee, mini cricket.
Are you for real right now? I mean, look at all of the, look at that one. Look at how fun. I'm thrilled. It has been so difficult because she mailed it. I didn't get to see a date.
How much was it?
I'm not talking about money.
Okay.
I don't see a date. Oh, the 8th of December, she sent this. And I had it like within 10 days. She went to the post office and she said, well, they're saying it could take up to 40 days. And I'm like, perfect for my birthday. Happy birthday, Tanya. Right? No, it got here before Christmas. Do you have any idea how hard it was for me to put this aside and not open it? But I knew if I opened it, I was going to dig into it. So anyway, yes, oh, what else is in here? There's another little something.
Surprise.
I don't know what this is. Sorry about the crinkling.
Could be a yarn.
I just bought yarn. That's all I bought. Oh, it's for a little mini thing. You can put the ball in there, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yep. Yep, it's for mini skein. And you put the mini in there.
Cool.
You put it on there and you pull it through here.
That is so cool.
Oh.
And you didn't pick
It may have been listed on there. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's super fun.
That was really neat.
Could you do me a favor and put that back together for me though? Would you mind? Yeah, look at all of these minis. You guys, I am so excited. I want to open and look at every single color.
There you go.
Look at all of these insane speckles. Look at that. It reminds me of cotton candy. Oh my goodness. I am so excited. So flippin' excited about this. Yeah. Anyway.
It reminds me of the mint ice cream with
chips. Mint chocolate chips.
Yes.
So that is what I have. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
That is what I have for new acquisitions.
Who's texting me?
Who's texting you? Take a moment to look at all this crinkle.
Marianne.
Okay. Would you mind turning that off?
Yeah, it's on silent.
Thank you. Okay, so next on the list is whips. You want to talk about your whip?
I'll go after you.
Oh gosh, I feel like I do all the talking. Okay, so the first whip I'm going to talk about is one that I cannot show you, but I can talk about the yarn I'm using. So and the only reason why I'm starting with this one is because I can share the absolute least about this one, because it is a test knit. We've been told we can't share pictures. We can't, so I can't show it at all. But when she releases the pattern, which she's hoping gets published in a magazine, then I'll be able to share it. But
it looks really good.
Oh my gosh, I'm super excited about it. But it is by Crystal T Knits. And I am using my ChowGoo size US 8 40-inch needles. And I am using, it's a DK pattern. It is a shawl. And I'm using I went to the local yarn store here, one of them. And I got this Sueno DK. And I needed 4 colors. So this is plum. Okay. And the next one may look familiar because I fell in love with this yarn when I got this color, which I believe is granite or charcoal. And it's what I made my dad's hat out of.
He loves those hats, by the way.
So I have gotten a little bit of a cold. I'm at the tail end of it, I'm hoping. But I have like this irritating dry cough. So this next color is Dusty Lilac. And I'm holding all of these in yarn ball huggers made by my mom. Dusty Lilac. And the final one is called Ice Ice Baby. And it is just the palest of pale blue. Anyway, like I said, I can't show you the pattern. I can tell you it was a test knit in a past life before Anthony's accident, before Alex.
That old.
No. Before all of that, I was an editor for an environmental engineering firm in Alaska, which is where I was born and raised. One second. So I got this, I signed up for this test knit because I am doing another one of this woman's patterns right now with one of my advents, and I love it. I absolutely have loved every minute of this project. So when she came out and said she was looking for test knitters, I signed up as soon as I could and was hoping, and it was like, I think the first day I started following her on Instagram, so I had no idea anything about this woman. And I really was enjoying this pattern, found her on Instagram, started following her, and within 24 hours, she put out this test knitter call. And I was like, oh my gosh, please, 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 pick me. And she did. I think there's 4 or 5 of us. And it was kind of a quick turnaround, but totally reasonable. And her deadline for these to be finished is January 10th. So I'm going to have a new shawl for my birthday, right? Beautiful shawl for my birthday. And
that's interesting.
And so anyway, I read through it, right? Because sometimes you find some grammatical stuff or the whatever, all of the stuff that you see on the print. Anthony.
Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt, Mom. So in the previous video, I had mentioned that whenever I would bring, I would bring stuff home from the teachers, like in the beginning of the year, and I would give it back my mom's signature. That's why they send it home, to get it signed by my mom, since I was a minor.
Well, because it's
And-
like class information and rules and responsibilities and expectations and the syllabus and the grading scale, all of that you get at the beginning of a school year from a teacher.
Yeah. And
we talked about this.
I know, but okay. So anyways, she would edit it, any misspelled, and but in grade school, which in America it's kindergarten through 6th grade or grade 6, and I would bring it back, or I would do my homework and I'd say, hey mom, do you think, or like, can you check this? I kind of need some help. And I was young. She would grade my writing, and I'm like, Mom, I'm not talking about that kind of help. I need help with math. I need help with grammar, and because my mom was an editor, and so I whenever I was doing a paper for English, I'd be like, is this like, do I have all the grammar right? And she would take a red pen and be like, you need this?
I received an envelope once, and I don't know if it was for my birthday or Valentine's Day, and it said, to my beautiful wife. I should have just opened it.
Did he spell it wrong?
Yeah. Beautiful was spelled incorrectly.
I bet that put a big old smile on his face.
He's an ex-husband.
Oh my.
So anyway, I did go through this pattern, back on track. I did go through this pattern, and I'm did editing stuff and sent it back to her. She was super appreciative, and she made the changes. And by that time, other people had been knitting, and they're like, hey, we found this and this. And so she made some changes. Well, all the while in December, I was working on 3 Advents every day. And so I hadn't started knitting. But then she sent out an updated version of the pattern, which had all, my corrections in it and the changes from the people that had already started knitting. And then we went to Portland for Christmas with my brother. And then things went crazy for the following week after that. And I ended up getting home, for good, at 3 a.m. on January 1st. So, January 1st is when I actually was able to cast on this test knit. And let me tell you, it is flying off of the needles. I am having so much fun with this woman's patterns. So, are you looking for it again?
Yeah, because I remember you're pretty far into it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna have any problem having this done.
Wow. Because I haven't looked at it. I just know that wow, holy smokes!
Anyway,
it looks really good.
I am not gonna have any problem meeting her deadline, and I wasn't able to start it until the 1st of January. I am not able to knit all day every day. I have had a lot going on this week. And I have been sick. And so, yeah. And I'm still going to I am not sweating this deadline at all. So that is my first whip that I'm going to talk about. And I'm so sorry for this cough. Let me tell you, it's like a tickle right here. I'm not coughing anything up. It's just like an irritating little dry tickle. And I've been coughing so much because of it, it's giving me a headache. So yeah, the struggle, folks, the struggle. So the next whip I'm going to discuss is one of my Advents. And it is my habitation throw. And let's see here. I am not to the halfway mark, so I am still increasing. So with this pattern, what I am using is my cornbread and honey advent calendar. And I found Cornbread and Honey on Etsy. And the theme for her advent for 2021 was finding peace. And I ordered the 20-gram minis and a 100-gram skein for Christmas. So if you don't watch Vlogmas, which is not for everybody, and I get that, there were a lot of them out there, but this was my 100-gram skein by Cornbread and Honey this year. It was called Winter Berries. Okay. I love it. I absolutely love it. What I ended up doing with the 20-gram minis was splitting them in half. So I had two 10-gram balls, and I put one half into a magic yarn ball. So this outermost color is day 24, because this is where I will start when I start my decreases, starting at 24, coming back down to day 1. So these are already in order. And that will be done once I finish this ball. This is still what's going to my increase. So this is what I have left for my increases, and then I have all of my decreases left. And here is my habitation throw.
It's gonna be a really big cowl or shawl.
It's not a shawl, it's a blanket. Oh. So yeah, there you have it. And very addictive. Absolutely love it. And I am just putting them in order.
I thought you said that you were making an advent shawl.
I am, but not with this one.
Oh. Okay.
So that is the first active whip I'm going to talk about. And that is with my Cornbread and Honey Advent calendar. The next one I'm going to talk about was my Inner Yarn Zen, also a Christmas Advent. And Inner Yarn Zen had two different themes this year for her Advents. It was either Downton Abbey, that was the color inspiration behind one of them, or Outlander. I went with the Outlander theme, and I ended up going with the Crystal Tea Knits. I ended up going with Crystal Tea Knits, and it's called an Advent Shawl. And with this, here's a picture of it. So this is the designer who I'm doing the test knit for. And each day, not only was I getting a new color from Inner Yarn Zen, but I was also getting a new stitch pattern from Crystal Tea Knits. And I am currently putting in day 20 of my minis. And this is my shawl so far.
Oh, that's the shawl that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So it started down here with day 1 with one stitch pattern. And each day is a different stitch pattern.
Oh, that is neat.
Right? So I have absolutely, thoroughly, and completely enjoyed this. I mean, absolutely enjoyed it. So when she put out a test knit call, yeah, I had to sign up for that. And I'm so glad that I did, because I'm enjoying it. So Inner Yarn Zen, I also got 24 20-gram minis, and I also got a 100-gram mini, or a 100-gram skein for day 25. And this one is called, her colorway for day 25 was Winter on the Ridge. And I just think that's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the blue is so subtle in parts of that with the gray. And you can see a tiny bit of green in there. I mean, I love it. So pleased. Absolutely so pleased. I absolutely, I mean, I say absolutely. Depending on what the color inspiration is, I have full belief that I will probably be getting this Advent from Inner Yarns In again. So, this takes me to my Gem State Yarn Advent. Now, this Advent calendar, I had 25 20-gram minis. So what I ended up doing with Gem State Yarns was granny squares. So each day I did a granny square. And I have all of them done. I loved every single one of these every single day. And I'm going to put them together and make a blanket.
Because you got 25 of them?
I have 25 of them, yeah. I had so much fun. I loved this. Every day, I loved this. So, and it was super quick. If you're a crocheter, I used a size E hook, and I did 12 rounds of a granny square each day. That left me with a tiny bit of each color, which will go into a scrappy blanket. And I have every intention of putting these together. I just need to think about a border color. And I did put out an Instagram, what do people think? And I got some pretty neat answers. I'm thinking cobalt blue is a high contender right now because it was a coastal Christmas theme. And as a coastal Christmas theme, it was like Christmas at the beach, basically. So, yeah, these were just really, really fun. So cobalt blue, depending on where you are on the beach, I just think would look good with all of these. I don't see any one of these that I couldn't put cobalt blue next to. I thought about gray for a while. I don't know. So anyway, almost through every single one. I really like that one. She had amazing names. And if you watched my Vlogmas, you'll know that each day that I opened up one of her colorways, it had, it was in a box. And when you opened the flap of the box, there was a picture and the colorway name. And the yarn matched.
It's 3.
Every day. It is 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
We get to go pick Alex up and take her to her first swim lesson today. And right here was day 25. That was my Christmas square. So, yes, I thoroughly enjoyed my Gem State yarn. She had so many little extras in there, and the yarn was gorgeous. Yeah, I really enjoyed my Gem State yarn. She's local to me. It's safe to say I will get from her another advent calendar next year if she offers them. So those are my current whips that I am working on. FO. I finished it before Christmas. Oh, talk about your whip.
So, if you have been watching our videos, you would know that I'm making a blanket. So this little stitch marker right here is where I was last time, and I have that much, and the stitch marker is right here, and this is all that I have. It's right there. You can't really see it. It's right there, and this is all that I've added. And so my mom went to Oregon to spend Christmas with my uncle and aunt, and but I went up to Alaska to spend it with the other half of my family, like my grandma and then my grandpa, and so I brought my knitting, thinking that I'd have a bunch of time to knit. I didn't really have a bunch of time to knit. Like I did. I had a bunch of time, but I was with my family who I haven't seen in over 2.5 years. So I was just hanging out with them, and I was doing stuff with them, and I wasn't, taking, I did knit, but I did, I think, a single row, and it was whenever I was by myself, and I was in bed for the night, and it was really nice to hang out with my grandma and grandpa. Got to see my sister, my niece. Got to meet my new brother-in-law, and it was just really enjoyable to hang out with them. And so it was so yeah. And so I did bring my knitting, but I didn't knit a whole lot. I think I did one row, and I was, and so but whenever I got back today, especially, I knitted for a while, and so yeah. I don't have any FOs that, I do, but I gave them away for Christmas a couple of years ago, and
you don't have any recent FOs.
I don't have any recent FOs, and so I'm on my second skein with this blanket, and do I have two or three more?
Three.
I have 3 more to go, and so I would have to say I'm almost halfway done with the skein that I'm on now, with my second skein. And so, yep. I didn't do any advent calendars. I was here, and some of the Vlogmas, not all of them, just in some of them I was here with my mom as she went through them, and yeah, so
maybe we'll think about one for you next year that you would enjoy. You may not enjoy a yarn one, but if we found something that you would enjoy.
Yeah.
So the next thing on the list was number 6.
Well, yeah, my Christmas day, it was really nice. I really enjoyed it. It was with my grandma, and then we went to her best friend's house, and they've been best friends since I think you were born.
And shortly after.
Shortly after my mom was born.
So about 27 years.
So about 27, 28 years. And it's that's a long time, and they are still just best friends. They my mom or my grandma was in the dog community, showing dogs and getting she was pretty good at showing dogs.
Yeah, competing in obedience, and agility, and utility.
Mm-hmm. And and her best friend also did show dogs. But I asked her because it had been a little bit since I've seen her, I was like, so do you still show dogs? And she's like, no, I stopped a while ago, and but she just has one type of dog. Well, she actually has one other dog, but she's always had Skipperkeys, and it's a little black dog, and and my grandma, she used to only have Rottweilers, but then now she only has Anatolian duck tollers. But
That's two different things. You have an Anatolian Shepherd.
Yeah.
And a Nova Scotia duck tolling retriever.
Okay. Yeah. So
how was your Christmas?
Yeah, sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole. My Christmas day was really enjoyable. I got to hang out with my grandma, and then I got to go over see Dee, and then right across the street got to say hi to Jeannie and Dean.
So what are I'm going to get you back on track.
Yeah.
Goals for 2022. So you said you don't want to keep goals for each episode, but we did talk about a big picture annual thing that you would like to do.
Yes. I've made hats before with a knitting machine, and that takes like 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, like 30 minutes from start to finish.
Yeah. And so I don't know how to make hats. I understand that it's really easy. I just don't know how to make it with the needles. But when I had my accident, I was sent from Alaska to Craig Hospital, and that's in Denver, Colorado. And they helped me so incredibly much.
Well, they're a rehab hospital that only accepts brain injury patients and spinal cord injury patients. So you have a brain injury or a spinal cord injury, and I want to say the number's 87 beds, and that's it, half and half. They have half brain injury, half spinal cord. They're attached to the Swedish hospital in Denver or in Colorado. And they're just an absolutely amazing. They don't just help the patient. I mean, they look at the family and they look at all the rehab. I mean, just an amazing facility. So that's what Craig Hospital is.
And so I want to make a bunch of hats and then send it to them. I did talk about making baby blankets and sending it to the hospital.
But you're going to go with hats for Craig Hospital.
Yes. Well, the baby blankets is still not off the table, but I do want to for sure make hats for Craig Hospital.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that is my yearly goal, and Christmas was really good. So
So my Christmas was amazing. I love spending time with my brother anytime I get to spend with my brother. And so what had happened was Anthony was flying home.
This was the week that last week when we had planned to do this video, but we couldn't.
So it was the 27th of December, Monday after Christmas. Me and my husband and Alex, my 6-year-old, were going to drive from Portland back to Boise, which is where I live. And same day in the morning, Anthony was leaving Anchorage and flying home. And he was going to have a stop in Seattle. And I was going to pick him up at 11:30 at night in Boise from the airport, it's like a 6.5 hour drive from Portland to Boise. So we left at like 10:30 in the morning-ish. And the day started with a notification from Delta Airline saying that his flight had been canceled and he had been bumped to a different flight. So I called Delta, like, hold on just 1 minute. We need to figure this out. Anthony does have, I don't even know how you want me to word that, but Anthony is not going to travel by himself, and he was traveling with a traveling companion, and you have now split them onto separate flights, and that is not acceptable. I made this very known when I called and made the reservations. This is not acceptable. And so I called Delta along with the rest of the population of America because everybody's flights had been canceled. And it was a 2 hour and 26 minute hold time, is what they told me. The recording said your wait time is 2 hours and 26 minutes.
It was not the case.
So, all the while, I'm trying to pack my car in Portland to get on the road, to get home, to pick him up. And, we decided to take the long route home, which put us at about an 8-hour drive instead of 6.5, but it was a safer route and flatter route, less mountainous terrain, and 20-car pileup. So here we were waiting. I had my knitting.
So you were fine.
So, well, and by this time I knew that his flight wasn't going to get in at 11:30. So I'm sitting there for about an hour and a half, and we're at a stop, complete stop, gridlock with traffic, and two state troopers come walking car to car to car to car to car to tell us 20-car pileup. We've now gotten that cleared. However, as traffic started moving, a semi went off the road and is blocking the traffic now. So we're waiting for a tractor trailer to come or a tow truck to come and get the semi off the road. You have at least another hour. So, needless to say, we got home at about 4 a.m. Tuesday morning. Okay? We left Portland about 10:30 on Monday, and I wake up to find out that when they got to Seattle, they canceled, because when I called, they said, we'll get them to Seattle, and then their flight is still a go from Boise on. Okay, no big deal. They get to Seattle. They cancel their flight in Seattle, tell them you've got 3 days before we can even get you on another flight. We're not giving out any more hotel vouchers. Sorry that you have no money for food. Sorry that we're not helping you with transportation. So here he was, trying to sleep in the Seattle airport because Delta Airlines did not pay attention to the fact that they had a disabled passenger that they were not caring for. Okay? So, he was trying to sleep. He's now been separated from his medications. The majority of his medications are for seizures. He had 1 day's worth, but his bags were no longer in even the same state as he was. Mm-hmm. Because his bag was able to make it to Boise. So he doesn't have any seizure medication. His traveling companion, caregiver, whatever you want to call them, is like, okay, let's just find him a place to lay down. He needs to get some sleep, especially if he doesn't have his medications. Mm-hmm. They're telling us we're going to be here for 3 days. Okay. They find a spot and lay down. Homeless person wakes him up, standing over him.
That was the second time.
Kicking his feet. Employees of the airport, sorry, you can't lay here. Okay? All the while, I'm in and out of cell phone reception. So, I get home, it's 4 a.m. My brother says, hey, I know you just got home. I literally hadn't even gone to sleep yet. And he said, hey, I'm going to get up and I'm going to drive from Portland to Seattle. It's about a 3.5, 4-hour drive. I'll pick them up and bring them back to my house. See if you can switch their flight from Seattle to head out from Portland. At least they've got a place to stay. So this is Tuesday. I wake up Tuesday about 11 a.m. I call Delta Airline. Thank you for calling. Your hold time is approximately 4 hours and 32 minutes. I just sat down in my craft room with my habitation throw. I'm going to knit and wait my 4 hours and 32 minutes. She tells me, so sorry, we don't have any flights leaving Portland until Friday morning. This is Tuesday. And Friday morning, we have a flight that's leaving from Portland, flying into Seattle, and then flying over to Boise. I'm like, yeah, no, let's just keep them out of Seattle because they're canceling everything in Seattle. As it turned out, we were not going to be able to get them home for sure. They could not guarantee us anything. They couldn't say, well, come Friday, we won't be canceling more flights. So I decided, all right, I'm going to get in the car, not the Suburban. My backup car is a Charger. So I got in the Charger, which is all-wheel drive, and drove from Boise back to Portland on Wednesday, which would have been the 29th. Okay? I get over there, having to drive about 20 miles an hour through some of the mountain passes because the weather was so horrific. I get to where the boys are. I get Anthony his medications because we had some here. So get Anthony his medications. And we're at my brother's house, which is great. We're all safe. We're all warm. I'm comfortable driving in snow and ice, but I'm not overconfident where I'm going to go faster than I feel safe going. So I felt safe going the same speed as the majority of the traffic. There were people flying by. Kudos to them. Not this girl. So we're there and hanging out. We're going to leave Thursday. No, we're not going to leave Thursday. They closed the highway Thursday because of whiteout conditions. So we're like, okay, well, my dad from Alaska says, hey, I'm going to put new tires on the Charger. Those tires are too old. Your brother looked at them. You need new tires on that car before you drive back. My dad puts new tires on the car. He's in Anchorage. We go to someplace in Portland. They put on the tires for us. And they got us in and out quick. They were amazing. So we get on the road Friday. And we're watching Google Maps, and it's giving us our route. And anytime there's a little slowdown in traffic or road conditions, you know, the little blue line on your map turns yellow, you know, hazard, be aware. Well, then we get a little notification about, 35 minutes up that there's been an accident, and you can expect about a 13-minute delay because it's down to one lane doing about 30 miles an hour. And as we get closer, that isn't getting cleared up. And we get even closer and the traffic is backing up, and we're like, okay, we're going to get off here, fuel up, do what we're going to do. Let's check another route and see if we can get around. And well, they closed the highway.
For hours.
We sat there for 2.5 hours. They closed the highway. It was due to a fatality accident. And finally, after 2.5 hours, it's like, it's New Year's Eve at this point. The boys want to get home. I want to get home. Was super bummed not to bring in the new year with Alex and Corey. This was a close second, though. And
it was a memorial, or not a memorial. It was a memorable New Year's.
So we ended up looking on the map and finding another route, which I'm glad we did. I think we definitely got here quicker. But it was through a 2-lane dirt road, mountain town, isolated path for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, there was no reception. And I'm not talking about like Like, you can't text your friends. It was, if something happens, we can't get a hold of anybody.
Yeah.
And it was
Dark.
dark. The
We
road
had
was treacherous.
Deer in the roads.
Oh yeah,
I had a hawk, like a hawk, dive bomb the windshield. It was negative 19 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll have to see what that is Celsius.
I'll look it up.
Okay.
Right now.
And negative 19 degrees Fahrenheit. It was so cold for my amazing little car.
And it's not old. It's 2014.
So, but it was so cold that the engine was running and everything was smooth, but it wasn't kicking out any heat. I don't know if a valve got froze open or what. 2.5 hours, negative 19 degrees. And we're like, oh my gosh, we are so cold. I'm driving with my parka on and zipped, the heated steering wheel on, keeping my fingers thawed. My toes are numb. Anthony's in the back seat with Cinder. We pass a car that had gone into the ditch, and I stopped and I rolled down my window and I'm like, can I do anything? I can go down the roadway and call for a tow truck for you. My dog's not going to let you in the car, but I can go call somebody for you. Anyway, we finally got home at like 3 a.m. on Saturday morning, and I have been sick ever since. What is it in Celsius?
Negative 19 degrees Fahrenheit is negative 28 degrees Celsius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was no joke. So
it's cold.
Anyway, we had quite a week. So we did not podcast last week. I was like, nope, we're going to do it today. And we've managed to ramble for 55 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I will try to edit some of the garbage and nonsense out. But anyway.
Even negative 19 degrees Fahrenheit is flipping cold.
Oh, it's freezing. It's ridiculous. There was no reason we should have been out in that. So, goals for next year. Speaking of temperature, one of my biggest goals for 2022 is I'm going to keep track of temperatures. I've done really, really good. I'm keeping the high and the low of the day each day because I am going to start next January. I'm going to start a temperature blanket. I don't know if it's going to be a granny stripe circle or if it's going to be circle ones where it has the low and the high in it. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do just yet. But I am going to keep my temps for a temperature blanket in my planner. The next one is I want to make some more stuff this year that I can wear. Like I have one sweater that I've made that I can wear. I make a lot of shawls, which I don't wear. And I don't like making socks. And the socks I have made, I give to my husband or my mom or Alex. I haven't made anything for me to wear, and I'd like to do that. One other thing that I want to do for this year. Is I want to make homemade stockings, knit stockings, so that I can, for loved ones, like personalized stockings. And if I make a list of people, find out how many of them I want to do, find the right patterns, and make one a month, right? I'm hoping that one a month will make me okay. And I want to get my number of whips down and maintained in the single digits. Okay? I want to get things off my needles. I know I'm going to cast on new things, but I do not want to leave the single digit number of whips. I want them gone. I want them wrapped up and finished. And I think that that's it that I've got for this week, for this episode. One thing I have thought about that might help me keep our...
Sorry. Didn't mean to make it that loud.
One thing I have thought about that might keep our episodes a little bit shorter is if I did one every week. I might do one next week on my own and just kind of talk about progress. And then he can join me every 2 weeks. I don't know. I'm going to play around with that, but we shall see. I had an amazing time with Vlogmas. That was a lot of fun. It seems weird to not be doing that every day. So I might do something once a week. We're going to see how we do. All right. Do you have anything else?
I think I'm good.
Okay. I think I'm good too. So you guys, I hope you're doing amazing. If you enjoyed all of this nonsense that we put out there, I did a lot of talking. I always do a lot of talking.
Well, I'm usually a pretty quiet guy, so you make up for it.
Then consider hitting the like and subscribe button down below if you enjoyed what you saw here. We would love to see you back here. And I think that's it. Bye.
See you.